Now, turning to our other big story. You decide 2024, 6 days away from election night. A flip of the coin. The man who runs the well-respected Marquette Law School poll says that's how close the presidential race remains in Wisconsin. The final Marquette poll coming out today.
And in a matchup of likely voters, Vice President Kamala Harris leads former President Trump 50 to 49%. But remember, it's plus or minus 4 points here. Our political reporter Jason Calvi joining us with a breakdown. There's a lot to break down, Jason. You tell us what jumped out at you.
Well, I mean, there's so much to look at in this poll. You got to really keep your eyes on the third parties on your ballot. The poll finds them getting 9% of Wisconsin, and that's really a lot in a state where 4 of the 6 past presidential races have been decided by less than 1 point. So today we're nerding out of the numbers. Look at this gender gap. This is male voters in Wisconsin. You can see Donald Trump right there with a big lead, 12 points among Wisconsin's men. That's pooling the Marquette poll from July through August. Now let's flip it to Wisconsin women and look at that. A big lead for Vice President Kamala Harris, 14 points. Now, this gender gap is actually less than what the poll found in 2016 and 2020. We got to also look at the cities. So here's the principal cities. They're places like Milwaukee, Madison, and Green Bay. Harris is winning those places by 36 points. But then let's zoom in on the small towns in those rural areas where they favor Trump by 23 points.
The rural areas, those areas are voting pretty heavily for Trump, but they're not voting as heavily Republican as similar rural areas in other states. So is there a gain to be made there? Dane County's turnout and vote margin is a huge question to watch and see if she gains even more than Biden was doing.
And here's something you really have to keep your mind on Election Day. 70% of those voting by mail, they favor Vice President Kamala Harris, while those voting early in person, 52% said they're voting for the former president, Donald Trump, something Republicans have really urged this year. 56% of those voting in person on Election Day are also favoring the former president.
And Jason, this is just the start of focusing on those numbers. Remind us how many delegates are up for grabs.
Well, the winning number we're looking for is 270. We've got the 10 here in battleground Wisconsin. This is one of those key, Kim, battleground states that's really going to decide who wins the White House. That's why you're seeing both campaigns flood the airwaves here and also making lots of visits here. You see both of those presidential nominees in the state today and again on Friday. Kim?
All right. Thanks, Jason Calvi. So far.